Welcome to another episode of Life and Whiskey. As always, I'm Jordan, and today we got a special treat. We're going to be doing the Weller Antique 107. Now, Weller is one of those sought-after lines out of the Buffalo Trace Distillery. Weller Antique 107 is 107 proof, or 53.5% ABV. It is a wheated bourbon, and it is an NAS, non-age statement, but it's aged for somewhere between 6 and 8 years. It used to carry a 7-year age statement on it, which they have done away with. And let's see here. Yeah, it's probably all we need to know about it. So now, Weller, the Weller lineup, everybody knows Weller is just Pappy Van Winkle, just different barrels, right? So it's the same mash bill. It's just from a different part of the rick house, and it's a different barrel. So they're the barrels that kind of didn't make the cut when it came to the Pappy that they were picking. It's also not aged as long, but it's the same mash bill. So it's basically same product. And because of that, the Weller lineup has become more and more popular in years past, because Pappy is next to impossible to get your hands on, and if you can get your hands on it, it's absolutely stupid, with like the Pappy 23 being, over $2,000 in a lot of places. The Pappy 20 maybe like $1,500, and the regular Pappy, gosh dang that stupid thing. I waited for the fan to stop a minute ago, which is why I'm out of breath, because I went and did a bunch of pull-ups, and now the fan just jumped back on. I think I'm going to pause this video after I say the Pappy 15-year, $500 to $1,000, and so this is a lot better price. It is a lot it is hard to find, or difficult to find, in a lot of parts of the country. I think the release out of Buffalo Trace is somewhere between September and October, is when this hits the shelves. Here in Wyoming, it's actually not very difficult to get my hands on at all. I could pick this bottle up for $45.29. I know on the secondary market, people are paying $150, $200, $250, $300, $400, $500 for a bottle of this. It's a bit ridiculous. It's not worth that at all, in my opinion. And I've seen it around town for $56, $57, $59. But I can pick it up pretty regularly without too much hassle for $45.29. So I'm going to pause the video real quick. We're going to let the fan go until it's done, and then when it's done, I'm going to pick the video back up, and we'll get into the nosing and tasting of our Weller Antique 107. Alrighty, we are back. Got the fan turned off. Life's good. So, my wife and I bought this bottle to celebrate the birth of our child, and this was the first sip of whiskey that my wife got to take after giving birth. So, it's kind of a little celebration for us, and because of that, I wanted to include it here. And so 53.5% ABV, 107 proof. Weller Antique 107. So here's another one of those bottles, just like I was talking about the Pappy and everything else, that, they're the highly coveted bottles. It's been my experience that those bottles you can't get your hands on are never worth anywhere near what you're paying for it. So even this, if you had to pay more than the $45 to $50, $60 that it's actually, MSRP for, you're way overpaying for it. It is good, it is not great, and it is nowhere near more than $40 or $50. In fact, I would say that there are several whiskeys under $30 that are better than this. Just my humble opinion, but it's very sweet on the nose, and like a cherry fruit forward in there, a sweet cherry. a little apple and pear, and on the tail end you get some caramel and a little bit of perfumey floral in there. Like the whole back half is like this perfumey floral and caramel put together. No real hint of oak in there at all, though. On the taste, it's all sweet vanilla caramel up front, kind of nicely rounded, and a little bit of an oily mouthfeel to it. And then it moves into this light fruit, and then it ends, goes from the light fruit into this very heavy black pepper spice, very, very spicy. A hint of barrel and oak in there, and then after you get through all that, like the lasting flavor is this sweet caramel that just kind of sits on your tongue. It's a little bit punchy. The ethanol's definitely present in there. I'd say the ethanol's pretty spiky compared to other, I got some bottlings 120, 130 proof that the alcohol bite just isn't there. For 107, this thing's kicking pretty good, considering that it's not outrageous. Second go of the nose, it's slight caramel up front, and then it is heavy floral fruit that dominates. Second go, it's ethanol forward, then sweet caramel and vanilla. Hint of corn somewhere in the middle, then black pepper dominating the end, and then right back into that sweet, creamy, milky cream caramel to finish. So it's like a black pepper caramel together on the finish. It's a really nice wheated bourbon, but again, there's nothing outstanding about it. There's nothing out of the ordinary. It's not extremely complex. In fact, the black pepper note in there that is so dominant for me, mixed with the ethanol, really throws it off for me. It's not really a preferred flavor of mine. And so for me, I really don't like this for anything more than what it really is as far as price goes. If you're paying a lot of money for this, I think you're being taken. It's really not as good as what the price would lead you to think, in my opinion. Now, I also like, if I'm going to be paying for a bottle that's really expensive, I want a huge depth of flavor. I want it to be very complex. I want to have 6, 8, 10 different notes that I can pick out of it. I want it to be ethanol tamped down, so it can be a high proof. I just don't want the ethanol to be forward in the flavor profile or dominating in any way. I also don't want any one flavor to dominate it. I want it to be subtle notes here and there that I have to really sit with the whiskey, try it, and experience it for a long period of time to be able to pick out this huge array of flavors. To me, that's what's worth the money. Going back in there, I get a little bit of a leather in there almost on the nose. And if you try real hard, somewhere in about this depth, I get like a sweet walnut in there, almost. And I would say as I'm drinking this, and the ethanol is starting to tamp down, I'm getting accustomed to it, the flavors are becoming more and more watered down, and the ethanol bite on the tail end of the flavor profile is picking up. So it's actually getting less complex the longer I sit with it. So I'm not really going too hog wild with that. If I were to pick something out here, I'd have to say, so this, I might be a little bit biased, but now this Wild Turkey Long Branch, this is my new go-to bourbon And at $35 or thereabouts, it's hard, you know, so we are $10 cheaper, and I would say this is way more complex, has way more flavor to it, something that you can really sit with and enjoy and pick apart. The flavors meld together a lot better, and the proof on this one is 43 ABV, so 86 proof. So the ethanol is tamped way down, but the flavor in this is just way better, in my opinion, more complex. Whereas this, it's fairly simplified, and as I'm going through it, it gets more and more simple, and it's like a watering down or blandness of the flavor, and the ethanol is punching forward. Even though I'm getting accustomed to the ethanol being there, it's still biting me pretty hard. On that one, the ethanol didn't show up till the very end, and then it's just all burn. So yeah, for $10 cheaper, I'm gonna go with this Long Branch all day. This is my new favorite bourbon, and I highly suggest you try it. But you know what? If you're chasing some of those harder to find unicorns, I mean, I wouldn't call it Weller Antique 107 a unicorn necessarily, but it is a harder one to find. And it's a good whiskey, don't get me wrong. I know I've been ragging on it. The prices I see people pay for it, I just can't believe that people are willing to pay that price for something that isn't really all that good. I also feel the exact same way about the Pappy. I don't like any of the Pappies. I think they're all over oaked. They're extremely smooth and rounded and oily, but it's the flavor that you get out of them, in my opinion, is just pure oak. There's no complexity or nuance to it. There's nothing nice or enjoy about it. It's literally chewing on an oak stave. Luckily, the Wellers haven't gone that direction. Maybe in time they would, but they're not there yet. But there you go. There's my review of Weller Antique 107. Again, $45.29 here in Wyoming. Please drop in the comments below what you can find it for in your area, and if you like these videos, you're getting something out of it, please like and subscribe the video. Share it with some friends. That'll help boost both my subscription count. You know, more people will be subscribing, and it'll also help me out in the algorithms with YouTube, so please feel free to do that. Also, in the comments below, please drop any comments in the comments below that you may have, either regarding this or what I'm doing, or whether you like or dislike what I'm doing. Just any feedback in general would be good. Not a whole lot of subscribers at the moment, and so it's difficult to know which direction to take this, and so yeah, any feedback would be great. Anyways, thank you for watching. I appreciate it, and this is the last video in this small little group of videos. I think I did 5 or 6 videos here today that will be dropping over the course of the next month. It's getting harder and harder to find time to make videos with the little guy upstairs. He's taking up a fair amount of time. Plus, elk season's only 5 weeks away, as my friend alluded to yesterday for me. Which means I got to get my butt in gear and start laying out all my gear, make sure I got everything buttoned up and ready to go so I can throw it in the truck and disappear for 2 weeks. You might want to start thinking about the same. Also start laying out meals, throw stuff in the freezer. Like I make those Kuyu bars. Good time to start doing that stuff. Yeah, so there you go. So videos, they're dropping now every 5 days instead of every 3 days, trying to stretch it out a little bit. As I'm going to be stepping away a little bit more in the months to come, just because I'm going to get a little bit more busy. So thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and I appreciate everybody who is paying attention and watching these videos. Have a good one. Bye.